Hello and welcome back to my Nektorio world. So a bit has happened while you've been away. I have started terraforming the world, putting in Megabase rails and decommissioning the starter base. So I'm in the process of basically dismantling all the smelters, packing everything into boxes. There we are, give them some more jobs to do. So let's have a quick tour of what's going on. The idea is that the entire world is covered with these Roboport cells, and they are grid aligned. Let me just get rid of the extra stuff. There we are. All right, so you can hopefully see here that these are based around the grid. So there's some patterned concrete on the corner of each grid. Then it is set up so that there's Roboports providing complete coverage of the entire map, and they're laid out in a way which is rotationally symmetric per grid cell. Okay, wires are along the edges where they need to be. The whole thing tiles nicely. Yeah. What else? I have a modular rail blueprints thing, which I think I showed last time, but it's based around chunks as well. So there's sections to fill up a chunk, to put in a T-junction, those sorts of things. And then the next thing is rail parks. So the plan is that the world will be made of concentric rings of rail. So this is the outer ring. And the outer ring is going to be reserved for trains carrying raw resources. So for example, ore. That then would be collected from mines and stored in ore depots. These trains then, I'm using Train Supply Manager, these trains then sit here until they are called in by some consuming site. Then they sit in the ore empty stackers, and then they are called in to a site which can supply ore. Let's turn off debug. So we have stackers for copper, for coal. I've set up one for iron and one for stone. You can see we've got a lot of empty trains for stone because that's being currently used to make landfill and to make stone brick, although I think the stone brick has now buffered up. So Train Supply Manager, you can call in trains, and you can set up combinators to say how many trains you wish to call in. So for example, with this setup here, I have a box which is being loaded up from the train. A train is called in if there's under, I think it is 400 units in the box. Let's check, yeah. And if there's under 400 units in the box, there's room to unload an entire train into that box. Otherwise, it does not call in a train. So it's only calling in trains when it can completely unload them, which means that this inserter is always running at full speed. Then we smelt into a box here, which is going to load the carriage. And again, this inserter here is intended to work at the speed that the inserter can go. So really minimizing the UPS, because we only bring in the train when we can fill it. So that's the plan. So this is a requester to request an empty train to fill. This is a requester to request a full train to empty. So here we have one that's requesting in full trains to empty so that we can make landfill. I'm currently landfilling the world. The whole thing is being terraformed. Let's zoom in on here, see if we've made much progress. A bit. So let's see if we can stamp down. Yeah, this now stamps down, which is good. So I'm just going around the map, finding things which look partial and filling in the gaps. The one mod I have uninstalled is the Underground Burrowing Worms mod. Basically, it was entertaining while I was grinding against the aliens, but now that we have done that, it's just a pain, and I don't particularly want to have to set up a perimeter of thumpers and then have them destroy a load of machines with tier 3 modules in. It's just yeah, too grindy for me. So we're now in the Megabasing phase where we're going to be trying to optimize for making as much as reliably as possible. So the first phase is to tile the world. There we go. And it's just a question of going around stamping these down. So let's show you a stone mine. So I'm using the uranium mining drills because they give you quite a large productivity bonus. Then, and this train seems to be stuck. What's the deal with this? It's looping on activity. Oh, this is filling up, that's why. Okay, so that's not quite full. This stone is going to be gone soon. So I need to find some more stone, but there is no more stone in my original map. So if you remember, I set up a map initially to be 2048 tiles square. I have effectively mined out the resources here. We are down to our last 2 million stone. We're down to our last 14 million of iron ore. This will be gone fairly quickly as soon as we start making modules. I've got a couple of copper mines here. This is a 4 million one. This is a 4 million. They will be gone almost immediately. We have a bit of copper here, which I may be able to use. 10 million. I haven't yet hooked this in. I'm in the process of removing all the legacy one-way rail. And the reason for that is we're going to set it up so that absolutely everything happens on the new rail system. Let's head up here. Okay. So I'll leave this bit because we might better repurpose this for the new trains. But fundamentally, this is going to then, we will drag this ore onto this rail. That rail will then go around here and put the train into the copper stacker. Okay, so the intention is to have a copper stacker north and south. So there's currently a south one. To have an iron stacker east and west. There's currently just an east one. So that would give me, with this stacker design, 12 ore trains for each type of ore. I can always double that up to 24 or whatever's needed. And then to have, so I've got one stone stacker by the iron, I've got one coal stacker by the copper. I'm going to need a uranium stacker. I'm going to need an alien bodies and ore stacker. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So the other thing I've done with some non-trivial help from people in the Factorio Discord, thank you very much, you know who you are. So they have helped me to use the console commands to reveal more map. So the original world in the map gen settings, I limited it to 2048 tiles square. We've run trains around the outside and things, so we have revealed a series of dead chunks. So this is whole. Then we unlimited the map size, so then we've got map out here. I also, the original map had the crude oil settings set down to minimum for yield. That was as a challenge to me, but now that we are megabasing, that's not good. So when I modified the map settings to unlimit the size of the map, I also modified the map settings to set the oil to very rich. And then the last thing we need to do is infill all this gap with water. So let's see if we can do this. So if I go to the console and type editor, we then are into the map editor mode. Good. All right. So I should now be able to run up to the edge of the world. This is the gap we have. Look, there we are. This is a category 5 spitter. Hardened behemoth, that's going to be entertaining to kill. And you can, I knocked the base frequency down quite substantially, but there's still a lot of them. Right, so what we're going to do is use the map editor. If we zoom in a bit so that I've got some control. If we go to tiles, get rid of smart out of map collision, deep water. In fact, I'm going to use deep green water so that it is very obvious that this is a separate thing. Let's head off down here. So I think if I'm not sure. Do I want to go? No, that's got a single tile gap. Okay, so I think I want, yeah, that's it. So let's go back to there. So we can fill in the corner. So that is now filled in with green water. Let's see if we can do this all the way. Okay, it's funny how this is blended in some places and not others, but you know, frankly, I don't care. Right, let's run all the way down. So luckily, this tool prints out what you are replacing. So I should be able to get this block perfect. Okay. So if I drag it over until I capture something which is not black, there we are. So if I go down, there. So this whole area now is green water, and then we can do the same here. So green water, the bugs can't cross. So I've got a barrier to my base, but then I have to get out. So I'm going to need to landfill some bridges and okay, so that's as far as I can go that way. There. Brilliant. And then let's do it again here. So I'm going to landfill some bridges in, take rail out, and probably have to use artillery or something to make some space. There. And over we go. So I've never really done this kind of map editing before. This is the first time. I'm quite enjoying it, to be honest. Clearly not a vanilla playthrough, but there you are. Cool, so I'm now protected by an impenetrable barrier of green water. But equally, I'm out of resources. So we are going to have to find a way to deal with this. Now, how do I get out of the editor? I actually don't know. Okay, just type editor again. That seems to have done it. Anyway, that's it for me, I think. I'll turn my bots off. I don't want to lose all this landfill. Well, I've lost all this landfill now. Great. So the next thing is going to be the next thing will be finding out where there is a stone patch, setting up artillery. There's a stone patch, 12 million. That might be worth getting. Copper. There's a 21 million iron. So they're not massive patches, right? It's not like I've mega-based the map gen. But 16 million of iron ore. So we're going to have to explore out, but we've got this safety net that we're going over some rail tracks which are going over some water. So I may even in the map editor, once I've created the rail, set it to non-undestructible, the bit that's going over the water. So this is our next stone patch. That's what we're going to have to aim for. Let's set this to stone. And it's 9.5. Good. So that's where we are. This is being dismantled. I'm in the process of putting in the final bit of rail, the inner center. Good, I haven't disconnected anything yet. Although that's behaving as if I've joined the networks, but clearly not. All right. And so this is the turning point, I believe. So let's put in a corner just to show you how this works. So I line this up on the grid. We know it's on the grid because all the square concrete markers work. But if I was to press F5, it does definitely line up on the grid. So shift click that down. So that's the next piece of the inner ring of rail. And the inner ring of rail roughly encircles this centerpiece, which was the original centerpiece of the map. I'm going to eventually clear out all of the things around this so that this can go back to being a centerpiece. And that's going to be basically at the middle of our map, probably off one tile or the other. I'm not sure. Can't remember if I lined it up exactly. That's it. Thanks very much for watching. So in a week's time, hopefully there'll be something to see with resources around the outside, smelting or tier 1 processing on the second ring, serious late tech stuff happening in this ring, and then maybe science and rocket launches happening in this ring, and then the central ring I'm planning to leave empty. We'll see how this goes. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.